He's Henry Gomez, an ad agency strategist with over 26 years of experience.
And he's Howard Eibach, a former copywriter and creative director and the author of 2 books on the creative brief. And together, we're the Brief Brothers. And we love talking about creative briefs, briefing, and advertising. And today, again, we're talking about advertising. We thought we'd review some spots that have come up just in my viewing as a consumer that I've been seeing a lot lately. And so thought we'd bring them. These are real ads. I saw them in the media. I didn't see them in a trade pub. I didn't see them in, Ad Age's Creativity. I didn't see them in a book. These are ads that are actually out there in the market right now. And so the first one I thought we'd show is this 30-second spot for Pfizer BioNTech. And let's take a look, and then we'll get some reactions on the other side.
Peaceful state, full plate. Wait, are you my blind date? Dancing crew, trip for 2, nail the final interview. Buy or lease, masterpiece, inside joke. Artichoke, gang with Doug, brand new mug. Give me a kid, give me a hug. The more you want to do, the more we want to do. Boosters designed for COVID-19 variants are now available. Brought to you by Pfizer and BioNTech.
Well, Howard, what do you think this time?
We talked a little bit about this before we started recording, as we always do. And as I was watching this, I think for the second or the third time, I caught something that I missed the first time. One of the things that I think we were talking about was that it's easy to kind of get lost in this. You could start watching the spot and ask yourself, what the heck is going on here? I don't know what I'm seeing. I don't know what the product is or the service. But I caught a little shiny Band-Aid on the arm of the young Black woman, I think, at the very beginning of the spot. And I missed that the first time. And I thought, okay, that's a clue. And I needed that clue because you had to wait till the end of the 30s, about 26 seconds in, before you finally hear that this is a spot for the COVID test.
The COVID boosters.
COVID boosters, right? COVID boosters. See, I didn't get the whole message here. So what came to mind for me was a thought that I heard from the creative director from whom I've learned the most, a guy named Tom Jordan, now retired, from Hoffman York in Milwaukee. He said, and we quoted him before, draw the circle, but don't complete it. Trust your audience to fill in and to be engaged. It's a version of something that Ogilvy has said and others have said. This time, I think the circle was not drawn nearly enough. It was asking me, the consumer, to really fill in way too much or to wait too long for the payoff. I don't believe for a minute that we have shorter attention spans. I think the facts belie that. We binge programs on and on and on, and we lose ourselves in social media. So that the argument that we don't have
long form podcasting is as popular as ever.
Absolutely. So I don't believe that people have shorter attention spans, but we may have less patience. We may just decide, tell me what's going on here, or I'm going to move on. And I think that's a knock against this spot.
Well, that's exactly my point. And when I see it, because every time it comes on, the little skip ad button appears right around the time the cowboy guy is doing the line dance the first time that he's doing the clap. And right there is right when he claps is right when I click skip.
Right.
And it wasn't until I saw this thing a million times that I decided, well, what the hell is this for? And then I watched it to the end, and it's for Pfizer boosters. So last I heard, something like 11% of the population that's eligible for these shots has taken them. Which may and
I've never seen the spot. I just took it because I'm an old guy and I want to make sure I'm covered. But anyway,
well, maybe if they had advertising that actually people saw what it was for before skipping over it, they might have a greater uptake. And I don't want to get into the polemics of the COVID vaccines and the boosters on this show, because that's outside of the scope. But let's just say I'm happy that they're wasting a lot of money on advertising that nobody is watching, because frankly, I just skip it every single time. And I literally skip it. They let you skip 6 seconds into the spot. That's when I'm skipping, because there's nothing in it that's compelling for me.
Well, I couldn't agree more. I mean, we talk about having a respect for your audience. I think this one failed in that regard, big time. So what do we got up next?
So we wanted to show, last year we showed a spot from Lucky Generals for Amazon.
Mhm.
And it was a young lady ballerina whose show gets canceled because of COVID. And so it was a very heartfelt spot, and we both liked it. And then we've talked about other spots by Lucky Generals. They're doing really good work. And then this came out for this year's Christmas season. So now we're starting to see a pattern, right? Like last year was a spot, and now this year there's a new Christmas spot, and let's take a look at it, and we'll talk about it on the backside.
Sounds good.
Oh, hey there, darling, let me count on you. The road is long and I'm scared what I might find. I'll be safe with you by my side. Ain't nothing out there can't take it stride. I know. Won't you tuck me in at night? Tell me everything's gonna be alright, sweet child. I'll be safe with you by my side. Ain't nothing out there can't take it stride. I know. You hold me up. You hold me up. So I can fly.
So what was your take on this one, Henry?
So what I was going to say before we showed the spot was, it's starting to feel like Lucky Generals has sold Amazon on the idea of have a big Christmas production every year that is going to be the kind of thing that people anticipate, like a John Lewis in the UK.
Mhm.
And I don't know that this spot reaches that level of John Lewis, but it's certainly at a higher level than a lot of the advertising that we see, especially a lot of the Black Friday, the screaming, the sales, the deals. This is a heartfelt talking about the holiday. There's a subtle idea at the beginning that maybe the mother has been lost, like she's not, she passed or something happened.
It's
But
unknown.
we see a family photograph of the daughter with the father and the mother, but there's no mother in the spot. There's no mother at the table. And this girl with her snow globe, she has this attachment to this snow globe. And then of course the father gets an idea, and kind of we talked about on another episode about Northern Tool and Equipment, about problem solving. Well, this guy takes something that he buys at Amazon, a shredder, to shred papers, probably just things that he needed to shred, and create basically a snow globe in their greenhouse. They live in a house, kind of like a rural home with a big greenhouse. And I thought this is the kind of advertising that does it, kind of makes you feel good. It makes you, it's there's nothing more commercial in the world than Amazon, and there's all this idea of like Christmas is too over commercialized, but the idea that you can make something special for someone, make the holiday special through things that you buy on Amazon, I thought was a really nice, and it was, again, like the other Lucky Generals work, well directed, well shot, music, as a production, it all comes together really nicely.
I agree. This is another example of good storytelling. I know that's a cliche in our business. We're storytellers, but that's what this is. And you're taking a mundane product. In Lucky General's Christmas spot from last year, it was, I believe it was a big old flashlight, a really big flashlight, so that the boyfriend could shine a bright light on his girlfriend that he loved. This time it's another mundane thing. It's a shredder. But it's really not about those products. It's about, what can I do for someone I care about? And that's why I think you're right. It's reaching for that John Lewis level of message. Whether it achieves that or not, well, let's see if they can do it again next year. I believe that John Lewis has been ranked as the best, offering the best spots, the Grand Prix winners for the entire decade. 2005, 2004 to 2015, something like that. So they have a set a very high bar.
Yep.
And Amazon's Lucky Generals has to do the same thing. But I agree, they're on their way. They're doing some
Well,
good stuff.
The good news is that Amazon doesn't have to compete with John Lewis in the United States, at least. So in terms of like getting people's attention for Christmas advertising. So if this is something that they can pull off for 4, 5, 6 years in a row, I think people will start having the same feelings about these Amazon spots, about like, oh, that's, you know, or what's the Amazon spot going to be this year? And kind of creating like, think about how good your advertising has to be for there to be anticipation among consumers to see
Yeah.
what you've come up with the latest.
Yeah.
So
I agree, because if you've been paying attention to what's in the news, Amazon has been dropping in some of its customer satisfaction polls. And maybe that's just inevitable when you get to be the size and scope of an Amazon. I mean, it's still a wildly popular place to shop and convenience, but this could help boost or reboost their standing among the consumers. So I give them kudos for this.
there's always room to have people feel a little bit of warmth toward your brand, especially if they believe it and it's believable. So I like this. I thought I saw it and I said, oh, this is a pattern that we've seen with John Lewis, and now we're seeing it with Amazon.
So next year we'll take a look at what Lucky Generals, if they're still working for Amazon, we'll see what Lucky Generals has produced, and maybe we'll talk about this trend. So it's good stuff, Henry.
Good stuff, Howard.
He's Henry Gomez.
And he's Howard Eibach, and together we're the Brief Brothers. Till next time. Bye-bye.